So here we go again. I'm really excited tonight. John Stellman with Vince Morales and John Adams. Got a lot of good things to talk about. We're going to start off with, I think, Albert Pujols, who cracked his 600th last Saturday at Anaheim Stadium. And this guy is a true role model. I think I look at the list here of the 8 predecessors to him into the 600 club, and 3 of them are suspected steroid user. That's easy for me to say.
I thought the same thing when I saw that list, John.
Yeah. Barry Bonds, Alex Rodriguez, and Sammy Sosa. I've never heard a word about Jim Thome. He could be using him for all I know, but I've never heard a word. But Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Babe Ruth. Albert is just, you never hear anything bad about him. You don't hear any infidelity. You don't hear any DUIs. You don't hear any altercations. He seems like just a down-to-earth, good, great role model for kids. He's got a foundation out here and one in St. Louis. He does a lot of charity work and helps underprivileged people. Been married to the same woman. Heaven forbid. That's got to be a miraculous statistic. But he is I think he's a delight. I think he's a great, great, great image for the game. I was glad to see him hit that thing at home. I was getting scared. Didn't want him to do it in Detroit where we couldn't see it. But yeah, he's a wonderful human being and a great testimony to the game of baseball.
I'm glad you like him. You're going to have him till 2021 when he's 41, so he's under contract till then. Right. The 4th youngest to 600. Still has some years to climb the list. So he's at 600. Sosa's next at 609. Thome at 612. Ken Griffey Jr. at 630. And then Mays at 660. And then obviously, A-Rod and the rest of them above that. So he's got a good shot at climbing that list even further. The fact that 600 was a Grand Slam. There was a record 8 Grand Slams hit on that day.
That's exactly right.
Which was amazing. So, terrific. And again, the Angels are going to have him for his 3,000th hit. That's forthcoming in probably next year, right? He's got 2876. Mm-hmm. So maybe not this year, but next year. Already to 600. And that's why you give a guy like that such a big contract, and you keep him in the organization so long.
Plus, he only needs to. He only needs to average 25 home runs a year for his final 4 years, not counting the rest of this year, to get to 700.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. He's a strong human being. We have paid a chunk for him. And, a lot of people don't understand also is he has a 10-year deal after his contract's done
personal
at
services.
$1 million a year to be a personal assistant or a service guy for the program. He has a Down syndrome kid, and he's very strong in the Down syndrome, family when it comes to raising money for the Down syndrome foundations and stuff. I've been to his golf tournament over at Pelican Hill. And they all come out for him. He even gets a lot of old St. Louis guys to come out, and so yeah, strong human being. We just hope, like you said, Vince, 2021, and you just hope he stays healthy. That you can keep him to hit maybe 275 and give you 30 home runs a year and get close to 100 RBIs.
He's on track for 30. Home runs. He's on track for about 120 RBI, just like
and he's accepted the DH role,
right? That's where he needs to be. My only concern this year, great guy, no problem. Great character guy. Great to have him in the California, in the Los Angeles Angels family, forever. Keep him as part. Let him go into the Hall of Fame as an Angel. It's going to be great. But on the field, slugging .408.
Yeah,
248 average, 297 on base percentage. You need a little better out of your DH spot, and you start to get concerned about where the age is taking him. You look at those first numbers. He's got 9 home runs, right? Is that what he's got? Or something along that line. Something along those lines.
Vince, I guess on his speak on his behalf, he has no first baseman that has power. He relies on Trout to hopefully get him pitches because Crone's not hitting for power, right? Valbuena's not hitting. Well, he's got a couple here and there. Your third baseman, who's another power hitting spot, is more of a base hit guy. And now you have Eric Young and you don't have, so he doesn't have a lot to help him out to get pitches. But yeah, you're right. You do need more out of your DH. The problem is those DHs that give you numbers usually have guys around him hitting to where he gets better.
You get better pitches, get better pitches. Fastballs,
so,
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, you're absolutely right, Vince. I mean, he's got to, it's got to have better numbers. But I mean, we're terrible.
I think as somebody who is not specifically an Angels fan, not that I root against them, it's one of those things where you start to think, that's a big contract. Yeah, you tied him up because he's a high character guy, a good role model, as you were saying, John. But what are those numbers going to look like in a year? He had a thin year 2 years ago when he missed a lot.
And he's playing. It looks like he plays with bad feet. He's got bad plantar fasciitis.
God forbid there's a ground ball in the infield because he doesn't even come into the frame until they're running off the field typically.
Vince and I feel very strong that we possibly could beat him to first base, but we're not going to put our money on it.
It's like the old joke, if he was in a race with a pregnant lady, he'd finish third.
Right.
At this point in his career.
Right, yeah.
But if you hit him out of the park, you don't have to. You can jog and walk if you want.
Exactly.
Right.
But I was glad to see that happen, and like I said, I was glad to see it happen to a guy like that who is a really
and I'm
good
happy
guy.
to see how the whole baseball thing situation. I don't know if you saw this.
Right, the
kid who
catches
it, right? He's wearing an Angels jersey.
Exactly.
He's wearing an Angels hat, and it was almost like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory when he got the golden ticket. He's like, "Run, Charlie, run!" And they took that guy up into the booth like that fast. He was on the air.
Yeah.
Doing all these things, and all of a sudden he was downstairs and he was handing the ball to Pujols and it was kind of a long hug. I don't know if you saw it, but it was a long hug, and it was almost like there's a whisper of, "Yeah, I know you'll take care of me. Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah, I know you're gonna take care of me. I know what this base. I know what this base will. Hey, can I get a Trout jersey also?" So I have the way that Albert is, I don't think it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
So right. Instead of paying for his own tuition, the kid is going to get a couple jerseys and some seats.
Exactly.
And a selfie with Pujols.
So, but it was cool the whole night, the whole thing, how it happened, and how it's not some guy holding on to it. It's going, "Oh, you're going to have to pay me for this," or whatever.
Well, he's a local guy too. He was Costa Mesa. He'd seen $5.99. His dad brought him out every night.
Yeah,
and that's kind of nice
cool.
to see that happen.
Albert, he'll do the right thing. That's the way he is.
Yeah, he'll take care of him.
Especially after that contract, he should be taking care of him. So,
let's move along to the NBA playoffs. I think my son said when he was in here earlier, he watched his first NBA game of the season over with me last night. It was my second NBA game of the season. I watched both playoff games, but that Golden State team is incredible. I really I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much of a coach Tyrone Lue is. He wasn't exactly a superstar player, but that doesn't always mean you can't be a good coach. I don't know how you defend that team. I mean, you can't double team anybody. Durant is just an animal. He's a beast. He's going to kill you in so many different ways. And the thing I like about him, too, is he's another one of the good guys. I saw something a couple of days, maybe a week or so ago, where he wants to take less money to keep this team, in sync, keep them solid. Mm-hmm. He would be willing to sacrifice to keep this team, together. Unlike Kobe, who wanted all the money when he wasn't worth half of it and didn't care whether they won or lost as long as he got his points and got his money. But I think Durant is really he's impressed me as a team guy who cares about his team, cares about championships, wants to win. He's doing it on the court. He's doing it off the court too.
And I can see that out of a lot of those guys on that team too. I mean, Curry's probably the same way.
Yeah.
But I don't know, the whole NBA playoffs to the finals have just been unentertaining, if that's even a word. But it hasn't been fun to watch. The Washington Boston series was pretty good. I was really looking forward to this series being a really tight. I actually thought that Cleveland had a good chance. That I thought that maybe the Warriors were over-rested maybe, and that Cleveland's coming off with just a couple days break and then going right into it. I actually thought that Cleveland was going to play much better than this, and then it's been turnovers. And by the way, with that whole team in Cleveland, with you're trying to coach LeBron, is there even a coach, or are you just a body? Really, who runs that team,
LeBron.
right? And so
yeah, but you still got to scheme it, and you still, and that's why you listen to stuff like Tyronn Lue saying, "I think the Celtics are harder to guard than the Warriors." Again, a little gamesmanship, because that was clearly not true.
No,
that's clearly not true. There were several people on that Celtics team that wouldn't even be on the bench for the Warriors, and wouldn't fit in the system. And so, again, that's gamesmanship, and if he truly believes that, he's in the wrong profession. But I've heard from a lot of people, it's it's a blowout. I'm not enjoying the games. LeBron James is averaging 28.5 points per game, 11 assists and 13 rebounds. Kyrie Irving 21.5, 4.5 assists, 2.5 rebounds. If you can't enjoy watching Kevin Durant and Steph Curry and LeBron James and Kyrie Irving playing at their best, the Warriors are just that much better. The Warriors are just that much better, and at some point you just have to acknowledge that. I don't think they win Game 3. I think Cleveland, hangs in there. They're shooting only 27.6% from 3. That's going to change at home. That once they get some guys going, Korver starts to hit. Kevin Love hasn't been hitting the threes. He's not been open. And again, some of that is just the pace of the game. The Warriors play at such a fast pace and get so many shots, per minute. It's hard to keep up. And so there's a part of me that thinks, boy, Love and Korver and Irving, they're not going to get their 3-point shots. But again, it's not a series until somebody loses at home.
Right.
Yeah. That could happen on Wednesday. It could. Are they playing Thursday? Wednesday or Thursday do they play?
Wednesday, I think.
Yeah, Wednesday. So tomorrow.
It's amazing the distance between these games too.
Well, the finals, it's
it's unbelievable.
In the other playoffs, it's here's a game, skip a day, play a game.
Right.
Now it's 3 days off, and they had a bunch of days off before.
I think there's 2 days off between every game now.
Yeah,
at least. Yeah.
And it's awful. Yeah.
I like the comment last night where Mike Bream, I guess, said that, Cleveland was in this situation last year. They lost the first 2, blown out, and they're going home. And Van Gundy piped up with, Kevin Durant wasn't here last year.
Right.
And that could make a lot of difference.
And then calls them the best duo ever.
Yeah.
That was the other thing.
And again, I think we're getting ahead of ourselves.
That's a little bit premature.
Ahead of ourselves there. Little premature. I'd like to see them win their second title before we start saying.
Oh, yeah.
But as far as abilities and how they play together, they're pretty darn good. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're really fun to watch.
Yeah.
And sort of the forgotten guy in this is Klay Thompson, who's averaging 14 points per game, is shooting, only shooting about 40% from the field. And 33%.
But he's actually playing pretty good defense.
He's playing great
defense.
That's what's been huge for them.
Playing great defense.
And you're always going to get Draymond's always going to be an enforcer down there. And
Draymond
can hit the 3 for you too. I mean, that's what's crazy about that. When he's got Durant, Curry, Draymond, and Thompson in there. I mean, you got 4 guys,
right.
And then this player to be named later guy that's down below pushing guys around. But I mean, the other thing is anybody can pop out to the 3 and hit it and.
Yeah.
Some of these guys will throw it up just on the other side of the half court. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't mind. I'm rooting obviously for Golden State, so I don't mind the blowouts at all.
Yeah.
But they really are a well-oiled machine.
I just like, I've always been like those games that are coming down like the last 2 minutes, like the end of a hockey game when it's 2-1, you know what I mean? They're going to pull a goalie, and it just gets really exciting. And I just wish that would be. And there were times in this last game, like, they were down by 12 or 14 and they came back to being down by 2, and it just little by little it just went away again. And I'm just going to talk to you, Vince, a little bit about this, and if we're going to talk a little bit more, about this final, but I think it's the benches. I think the Warriors are a little bit deeper.
Their bench is unbelievable
on the bench, and I don't know if that's true or not. But
it's totally true.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. When you've got guys like Sean Livingston off the bench,
Matt
Tristan, JaVale McGee, coming off the bench, they have a distinct advantage. I think Cleveland needs to have their role players play a bigger role. So I'm looking at the Golden State Warriors. It's pretty hard. They're shooting 52% from the field. They're shooting 42% from three. Cleveland shooting 27.6% and 45% from the field. Both of those numbers will probably improve for Cleveland at home. It'll make that, and we were talking about this earlier, Golden State is a road favorite. 3.5-point favorite at Cleveland. And I think that's right. I still think I'd take the points there. But Cleveland can improve. They can improve. The thing that offensively, the thing that you worry about if you're a Cavaliers fan is, can they improve defensively? In the first game, in the first half, defensively, there were so many times they just abandoned the lane because of the pace that the Warriors were playing, kicking it up. They were not making the right decisions. Now in half court, they can make the decisions a little better on whether they're going to switch off of a pick or whether they're going to defend what they're going to do. Yeah. But in transition, they were thinking, stop the three, and there's Durant going right down the lane, like just cruising down the lane.
Yeah, he went down there empty.
Several times. Yeah. Several times.
And then I think the first game, was it 20-something turnovers that Cleveland had? You just can't turn the ball over to the Warriors. Just
extra shots. You can't give them extra shots.
So.
I think last night, Golden State had 102 points in the third quarter.
Yeah.
You just can't let that happen. If you expect to win, you're not going to out offense them. You better play better defense.
You're going to have to. It's like you said, if you don't, and that's what's so amazing. They can just spread it out, and if you're not paying attention to doing your job, they're going to get layups.
Exactly.
And in one of the previous podcasts when we were talking about the Warriors, there were times when I would watch them in previous playoff series where they just seemed to be disengaged for 4 or 5 minutes at a time. Yeah. They have not been.
No.
They are on a mission.
They're all business.
And the ball movement's been really good too. That's really big for them. They're always about that extra pass, and they've been disciplined that way, and it's really paid off.
Did you see that shot Durant made last night when he was falling down and threw it up, ended up on his back?
Love dragged him down, and then he threw it in. Ridiculous. He's such a great athlete.
And he's 6'10". Yeah, he's big, and
that's the best chance the Cavs have at winning the series is if Durant is injured, doesn't play anymore.
Yeah.
Other than that,
defensively, Durant's been terrific.
He's been
blocking shots, playing great defense. Everyone in that starting lineup is just long. Say what you want about Zaza Pachulia.
He's a presence.
He plays pretty good defense, and he'll get open just enough to score a few buckets.
But he's big. He's big enough to push guys around.
Exactly.
So,
And then he switches time with JaVale McGee, who's pretty much the butt of Shaq's jokes all the time. But he's still serviceable. He's a serviceable guy.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think Game 3 is the telling game. If Cleveland can shoot better,
they have to win it. I can't see, even if Cleveland
down 3-0, and then the stats will come out like what's the percent of a team being down 3-0 to ever win the
No, they did.
I just can't see.
They did, huh? That's right.
They did last year.
Yeah.
I just can't see the Warriors losing 4 out of the next 5 games.
Not the way it's clicking now.
No, I think the thing from an objective observer is you look at how well LeBron is playing, and it's sometimes taking over. Yeah. And Irving still playing pretty well. He needs to do a little bit better.
But like in a momentum deal, if you get those other guys clicking and hitting points, then momentum will start. Question for you: does Kerr travel with the team?
That back?
I think he's going to certainly try. He had no intention of coming back to the bench unless he could stay there throughout. He wasn't just going to do sort of like a Phil Jackson thing, and
Right.
He had said that if he's well enough to coach, he's in it for the duration.
Gotcha.
Now, whether or not he can health wise, but he must have been feeling better. But sometimes when they put shots on him, he looked like he was sort of straining. It looked like he was maneuvering his neck. It didn't look like he was very comfortable. Yeah.
If you guys are Tyronn Lue, what kind of adjustments do you make for the third game? You got to make defensive adjustments for sure, I would think.
Yeah, you could, but I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with exactly what Vince just discussed. I mean, I think it's just a momentum thing. I just think if you get the other three, like, look at everything's going great for the Warriors because they have 4 or 5 guys scoring. They got 2 guys scoring in Cleveland, and I just think those guys need help.
Yeah, Love needs to step up. Corver needs to step up.
And I think if those guys are helping participate, then I think you've got not easy, but it's a very competitive game. And right now, I don't know if it's because the Warriors are playing great defense on those guys or those guys are just not hitting their shots. But if those guys are helping those, LeBron and Irving, with scoring, I think it's a very competitive game. You're right, Vince. You got 4 or 5 guys scoring on the other side, and you only have 2 scoring on the one side. So,
I think the only adjustments that, I'm trying to think if there's any lineup adjustments that they can make. Probably not. I think they stick with who they've got out there. They're 5 against the Warriors 5. They just need to stay active. They need to stay active on defense. They need to switch. And they need to just pay attention. They can't do what they did in the first game, and they certainly can't do what they did for stretches in the second game. And then there were parts offensively where I felt like, again, that same rap that you hear on LeBron is deferring a little too much, trying to be too much of a distributor, trying to get some other guys involved. It's like, go get your 40.
Yeah.
Go get your 40.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're going to the basket and 3 guys converging you, then you can dish it.
Yeah.
But now, there were times in the game when he would just go into the paint and immediately he thought, let's get it in the offense in the perimeter. It's like, why?
Yeah.
You're right there.
Yeah.
Draw a foul. Get him in foul trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I think the strategy is, punch Draymond when nobody's looking and hope he gets tossed. That was the turning point last year.
Was.
Getting him out of the game. They
Causing
lose Draymond.
Distraction.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, he said he's grown up. He's not.
Oh, yeah. He's really
not going to do that this
yeah,
year.
Yeah, of course.
We'll see.
He was barking at the refs pretty early in
Mm-hmm.
this. He's already barking at the refs.
Yeah.
He's chirpy. He
Yeah.
always
Oh, yeah.
will be chirpy.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, he's going to be that guy. For Cleveland, I wanted to see an angrier LeBron after Game 2.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a Cavs fan, hopefully he's doing that behind the scenes, getting in their chests and in their faces and saying, "Let's go, let's go."
Yeah.
Kevin Durant changes a lot of things.
Huge
He's
difference.
so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one, game at home, you get you get some momentum. You hold service, and you go to the next game. Right? That's all. Cleveland has to be thinking: get that first one at home, and then hold serve in Game 4.
Yeah.
Exactly. Before we switch gears, how about a little comment on what do you guys think about Jerry West? Looks like he's going to go to work for the Clippers.
Oh, he is.
Yeah, he met with Donald Sterling and Doc Rivers.
Sterling's still in.
No, not
Not Donald Sterling. Palmer, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Balmer and Doc Rivers.
Sterling wouldn't remember that.
No, I'm
conversation.
sorry about that. But he said he's still always been a Laker, but I think he has a home in L.A.
Yeah.
And he commutes, he flies back and forth when he has to. And I think he wants to be closer to home. He's 79 years old.
He's a great baseball mind. He looks phenomenal for 79.
He does.
Too. He's a great basketball mind. So I don't think it's a bad hire at all. I think he'd be great.
I don't think they've hired him, but they've had discussions.
Yeah.
Right.
So we'll see how that pans out.
And sorry.
If that's what Chris Paul wants, then do it. Otherwise, I would really need to investigate more of what Jerry West had contributed to Golden State,
Mm-hmm.
to really understand his value for the Clippers. It's a different NBA than when Jerry West was putting together the champions in LA and putting together a very good team in Memphis. It's a different NBA. You know, West is a get a big, get a rim protector, you know, and guy, you know, center who can score and get some good talent around him. I think it's sort of old school. I don't know what he brings. If you want to see an old school team who tries to punch Golden State in the mouth next year rather than outrun them, okay, maybe that's why they're entertaining ideas and thoughts of West coming in. I don't know enough to know whether he has taken those advanced analytics and the idea of how the game is played now and building on it or rebuilding with the Clippers.
I'm actually surprised that this news has come out due to the fact that the season's not over yet. His team that he's working for is still in the finals. So why is he even talking to the Clippers? He's not even allowed to. I would assume that he's not allowed to do any negotiations on a contract.
Yeah, I'm still concerned, I think, about Doc Rivers holding two jobs, two positions. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's too much, especially in today's day and age with all the technical things that go on in the office and behind the scenes, plus trying to coach a team, get it ready to play games. Maybe they're bringing West in to take some of the load off of, if they do, off of Doc Rivers. We'll see.
And what's the update with the Lakers? I mean, I've heard that they're going to try out our boy, Mr. Ball. Yeah, but they're also going to try out Johnson, right? Is it Johnson?
Josh Jackson.
Josh Jackson.
De'Aaron Fox next week.
But and I've heard things flowing around that they don't go Ball, they go Jackson because they want to get the kid Fox. Now I'm hearing Sacramento really loves Fox, that the Lakers would never get Fox if they go Jackson. But now I heard Clarkson is up for trade bait, and they want to get rid of him. Yeah. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, right now there's a lot going on, and nothing's going to happen immediately until everybody sees. The Lakers are doing their due diligence. Even if it ultimately ends up that they're going to take Lonzo Ball with the second pick in the draft, they still need to know what's going on, because things can happen. They could, for instance, one of the things that I heard from a friend last night was a rumor that the Bulls were considering giving Jimmy Butler and a second-round pick to the Lakers for D'Angelo Russell, the 28th pick in the first round, and Luol Deng. Which I said, do it.
Please do it.
Yeah, pull that.
Do that, and I'll hurt you.
Luol Deng's the magic name.
I'm surprised that deal's not already done.
Again, that was a rumor. Again, rumors. We don't know for sure. How long, but we were talking about it last night, and Butler's making about $19 million a year. That's only a couple million more than Mozgov, and only $4 million more than Deng.
Yeah,
I mean, where's the telephone?
And scores 40 more than those guys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you just don't know who's going to get moved, and you don't know whether you're going to need a point guard or whether they're going to want. Because right now there's a bit of a logjam. You bring in Lonzo Ball and you got Clarkson, and we've been saying, get Lonzo Ball, and but again, cooler heads will prevail. They need to do their homework, and they need to figure out whether having Clarkson and D'Angelo Russell and Alonzo Ball or a Markelle Fultz or even a De'Aaron Fox, one of these top point guard guys is the way to go. I think if anything with Pelinka and Johnson now, it's what's the value? What's the value of Alonzo Ball? Is he a once in a lifetime type
Magic
of
Johnson,
transformational type of player? Does he have that value? And we assume that the Celtics are going to take Fultz or somebody else. And is Ball the guy? Well, what if the Celtics take Ball? Was Fultz that transformational type of player, that once in a generation type of player? Or can you wait for the third best point guard or the guy who's considered the third best point guard, which is De'Aaron Fox? Can you trade down and let somebody else take? because you say, well, because the Lakers apparently really love Fox, and that may just be what they're leaking, so that people say, oh, I want Fox. We're gonna try to go up, and then they can still get their guy or whatever. So, but again, it's all about value, and it's all about what they think. Lonzo Ball is 19 years old. He hasn't played a second of professional basketball. You just don't know. You just don't know.
That's right.
And it just happens to be they have a point guard.
Yeah.
But who's the stats have shown is better off ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see. So they're working out Lonzo Ball. They're working out Fox next week. Markelle Fultz. There's sort of that rivalry that I'm liking between Ball and Fultz. Ball just said, I'm better than Fultz. Which is hard to assess.
Yeah, how do you know?
Because Markelle Fultz was on a really crappy team at UW.
Yeah.
And the teams didn't perform well head to head. But Markelle Fultz now is like, I want to be the number one guy. So he's refused to work out for the Lakers and only work out for the Celtics because he wants to be the number one overall guy. Right? And that's not going to preclude the Lakers from taking him if he drops, for instance.
True.
We just don't know. They have enough on tape, and they're going to, they'll learn enough about. But it's very intriguing. But it's very intriguing, and you sort of see and you sort of hope that maybe there is that kind of bird magic, thing going on between Fultz and Ball, both coming out.
I mean, you're only going to see that if they both start and they're both going against each other.
Right.
So. Right, and again, will they start? Obviously being in the East, if let's say the Celtics take Fultz. They've got a point guard in Isaiah Thomas. Yeah. The Lakers have a point guard in D'Angelo Russell. Will Ball and Fultz be playing 30 minutes a game next year?
I wonder didn't those guys play against each other last year in the Pac-10?
Oh yeah.
I wonder how that.
Yeah.
I wonder how that.
Well, again, we were talking, the Washington was terrible.
Yeah, they were terrible.
Washington
was terrible.
And the kid from Washington put up 39 on UCLA. Something crazy, but again, it was just one game.
But also, so did De'Aaron Fox. I mean, Lonzo Ball didn't play particularly well defensively, and I think that's one of the things that Lakers will have to resign themselves to.
Exactly.
You bring on Lonzo Ball, you get a lot of upside on the offense, but not a lot on defense.
Right.
Not that you would get much more out of Fultz defensively, but he's better. Yeah. He's better defensively. Yeah. Though Ball is probably
and I heard Dad will not be at the tryout.
What's that?
Oh,
Dad will not be at the tryout.
That's good.
Is that by his own decision, or somebody told him you're not going to be there?
I don't know. I don't know if it was kind of like we'd love to have your son try out. Your son, not you.
Well, hopefully it's closed. I mean,
it is.
And it would be closed, I would guess. It doesn't make sense that it would be closed to agents if he's really going to be acting as his son's agent. But if they've asked him to stay out, then
maybe it's a deal like we're going to try out your son, and you and I are going to go in the back room and have a discussion. Here, come see my office.
So all that's going to be happening soon. I mean, we've got
22nd, huh?
Yeah.
Can't wait for that day.
Yeah, it's coming up.
All right, let's move on to the NHL, where all of a sudden the Predators have decided to wake up and get back in this.
Pekka Rinne has decided to stop some pucks.
And I think it's he's stopped I think he's only allowed 2 goals in 56 shots. They've outshot Pittsburgh every single game. One of the goals from Pittsburgh last night, or the only goal I think from Pittsburgh last night, right? They only scored one, right?
One, yes.
Was a
breakaway.
From Crosby, and it was a great goal, but he
also stoned him later on another one.
Yeah, but I think if I'm right, the way that Pekka Rinne has actually had his success in the playoffs is it's been streaky at points, and if he's going to come off of these 2 wins going into Pittsburgh, again, I think it's been magical. The crowds on both sides. I mean, you don't see any other jerseys in the crowd. I mean, it's just been complete home game fans and home game. You'd have other jerseys and other than probably Nashville, and you'd have Pittsburgh jerseys and the Ducks or the Kings. But getting back to it, I think if he gets streaky, he's phenomenal. I mean, he's really good. And their defense just wear him down, and I thought it was just a great, they're just playing great hockey right now, and they're not scared of them. And now they got a kid that scored 3 goals in the playoffs. He's never scored 3 goals in the NHL. It's, and he's in the American Hockey League last year, and it's been fun to watch. But I think if he continues to play goalie like he has in the next couple of games, it could be done.
I think the Preds are going to have to win Game 5. Now they were more competitive against Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh.
In Game 1, they should have won.
Yeah, they should have won.
They only had 12 shots. Pittsburgh only had 12 shots.
Pittsburgh wasn't very competitive in Nashville. I think whoever wins that Game 5 is going to win the thing, and I think the Predators can do it.
I think they can too. Yeah, it's just
they won't lose Game 6 at home if they win.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a must-win. For me, for Nashville. I mean, if they go into Pittsburgh and they lay an egg, they get the momentum back at home. So they, then it comes back to Nashville. They can win at Nashville and get the momentum going back to Pittsburgh. It's not over. And it's going to be. So I don't think it's over if Pittsburgh wins Game 5.
No,
but I think it's going 6 or 7.
But if you're Pittsburgh, boy, you don't want to lose Game 5 and go back to Nashville.
Because Malkin was actually, you wouldn't even see him on the ice almost. He was non-existent. The Predators have been playing good hockey. Their defensemen have been playing really good, and they're putting the puck on Murray. And what's great about it is they're having those little scrappy guys in front of the net to knock that stuff in. And great open netter by Forsberg last night from all the way from the other side of the ice to kind of seal the deal. It's been good hockey, I think.
Well, I think it probably could go. It probably go 7. I think Pittsburgh had a hard time closing out Ottawa in Game 7 at home. What was that, double overtime?
Right. Yeah.
So I like Vince said, they don't have to win Game 5.
And that's a good point. They went Game 7.
Right.
So the Preds is it now coming to the point where that Pittsburgh's showing that they're tired? I don't know, because am I right? Did they go Game 7 to the series before Ottawa?
Yeah, that was Washington.
It was Washington. They went Game 7 there, so they went 2 Game 7s in a row. Right. So now is it really? Are the legs getting a little to be like noodles? And the Preds have actually been able to be a little bit more rested. I don't know, but it's something to think about. So
yeah, the Penguins are good though. They're so good.
I agree.
They're so good, and I think it's going to get better. And if you look at just the scores, 5-3, 4-1, 5-1, 4-1, it feels a little like the NBA where, those were never games. But that's only if you're not watching those games. Whereas in the NBA, somebody winning by 20 points, just wasn't close. But again, if you watch really closely that Cleveland second game, they were close. They had that game within 3. Late in early in the third. So this is up. This is up for grabs. It's absolutely up for grabs, and going to be a great, just a terrific.
What was interesting was the second goal. Did you see this? How that all went down? So the second goal, right? They come around the back end of the net and they flip it in, and Murray looks like he's just what a phenomenal save, right? So then all of a sudden it keeps going on, and they're playing, and about 2 minutes into it, the horn blows like a goal, and all of a sudden they're like, "Well, what's going on here?" Well, they thought that maybe the puck had gone in, but they weren't for sure. But the game kept going, right?
Right.
So back wherever they are in New York or upstairs or wherever they are, they're reviewing this, and finally they found out that the puck actually went behind the line, and then Murray flicked it out, right? So then what happens is the game's going on, and the goal horn goes, and then they're like, they got to go look at it, and then like, after for you, good goal, and the place went nuts, and that was kind of a little bit of an air out of the Penguins also. So it was quite interesting. I've never seen that happen before, So, and it's just the reason why is because he flinged it out, and the game kept going. So there was no stop, to where they said, they whistled.
That's funny. It would go that long before it would get reviewed.
It went a minute and a half, 2 minutes before, they did it. It was, they just wanted to make sure that, they're going to blow this horn. They make sure they saw some white between the puck and the line. So it's quite interesting.
It's a good series. It's going to be a good series, and
fun to watch.
probably be a better series really than the NBA Finals. But
Yeah.
as far as competitiveness is
We'll
concerned,
see. Give it a chance.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm
ahead.
inviting you. Watch a third game of NBA this year, please.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'm encouraging you.
I'll
Watch
tape
that.
it and
No,
fast forward through it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now back in Cleveland, it's going to be a different environment. The fans are going to be hyped up, and
John will he'll watch the first quarter.
An air of desperation. And that might be good for the Cavs.
yeah, that'd be all right. How about the NC2A Super Regionals?
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Long Beach State actually got out of their super regional. Their regional.
Regional, yeah.
They had to beat Texas 2 in a row, I think, to win.
That's right.
And then Cal State Fullerton just went up and took care of business.
They didn't mess around with Stanford,
they beat Stanford right off the bat and just kind of went right through the whole deal.
Yeah.
And now I guess they're facing each other, right? Where's that game at? Do you know?
Long Beach, I think.
Yep. It's the Long Beach
Super Regionals.
It's the Super Regionals in
At
Long
Beach too. Wow.
Yeah.
That would be kind of fun to go up and watch.
Yeah, so the matchups are Oregon State and Vanderbilt in the Oregon State venue. Long Beach venues, Cal State, Fullerton, and Long Beach State. Then we've got Sam Houston and Florida State and Tallahassee, Mississippi State and LSU and Baton Rouge, Texas A&M and Davidson at College Station, Kentucky and Louisville in Louisville.
That'll be
fun,
great.
Right? And then Fort Worth is Missouri State and TCU, who just crushed. Who did they crush last night? Somebody, like Oral Roberts or somebody.
Yeah, some indiscreet.
Yeah, and then in Gainesville, Wake Forest in Florida.
So there's a couple teams in there that you wouldn't think it would be baseball. Like Davidson, I never thought of them being a baseball school.
Steph Curry must be excited.
Yeah.
You get it done with his series quick and maybe go watch some games.
So is this just a 3-game starts on Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
So how does this work, Vince? Now, is it Cal State, Long Beach, we're going to play Oregon State? I hope not.
No,
it's Oregon State and Vandy.
But I mean, who?
These winners all go to Omaha.
Oh, they all go to Omaha.
Yeah. The winners.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was glad to see Long Beach win because, you had 3 California teams in that Long Beach. I didn't want to see Texas come in here.
Yeah.
Now we've got
and
we've got
the
2
UCLA
teams.
game was pretty close against Texas. The first game.
We've got 2 teams now from California that we might get into the.
No, there's only one team.
Well, I mean, 2 from the West Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Pac-12. Pac-12 didn't fare very well. Stanford was in the national top 8, and then they went out in Arizona and UCLA gone. Of that initial top 8 with the rankings when they first came out with the bracket, North Carolina gone, Texas Tech gone, and Stanford gone. Out of those top 8.
Oregon State's and Long Beach are, Cal State Fullerton are going to be the West Coast teams, right?
That's right. That's exactly
if Oregon
right.
State gets past Vanderbilt.
And don't sleep on Vandy.
Yeah, they're good. Yep.
They're pretty good.
Yeah, they had their shortstop last year I think wasn't he or 2 years ago was the #1 pick in the draft. He's playing for Atlanta now.
And they've got a couple of guys who look like they're in their top 100 for the amateur draft this year. One guy that were sitting out until these last games. The pitcher. Is it Tom? Not Tom. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong. Anyway, I don't know the Vanderbilt guy. Well, Kyle Wright. I'm sorry. Kyle Wright is Vandy's the righty who can top 97.
Oh wow!
And has a changeup at 85. I mean that's pro stuff.
That's good stuff.
That's pro stuff right there. And he could go top 5 in the amateur draft. And then they've got an outfielder and another pitcher who are potentially in the top 100. The Oregon State Beavers are a really intriguing team when you start drilling down on them. They only hit 27 home runs this year. They were 222nd in the NCAA Division 1. Long Beach State didn't hit. I think they only hit 30, but it's all pitching. It's all pitching. So the Beavers have outscored their opponents 335 to 120. Wow. Their team ERA is 1.78. 1.78. That's 294 batting average and just 27 home runs.
Well, with 178, you don't need much.
No,
a couple of runs.
No, and so their arms are Jake Thompson, 1.30 ERA, 16 games started. He's got 13 decisions. He's won all 13 decisions. Wow. And Luke Heimlich, 11-1, 0.76 ERA, 16 games started. He's 11-1. That is nuts.
They deserve to be the #1 national seed.
What were those runs? 370 what to 170?
335 to 120.
Kind of sounds like the Astros right now.
in their the 56 games that they've played.
Yeah.
Just, you know, they've allowed just 101 earned runs this year.
Jeez.
It's crazy.
That's sick. That's
so
sick.
they lost to Ohio State in February, and then lost one conference game each of the series, a 3-game series against USC, UW, UCLA. That's it.
Wow.
That was it.
That's a pretty impressive record.
And it's been like that for quite a while. I mean, he's turned that whole program around. So he's probably getting the pick from the litter here on the West Coast.
No, you have seasons like that, you'll get the best recruits.
Unless, he probably loses out a little bit to UCLA. A lot of kids from here go to UCLA, but he's probably a great recruiter because he's bringing them in.
Yeah, that wasn't too long ago that they were the doormats. I mean,
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's quite a turnaround.
Exactly. It's really interesting because I was talking with our friend Dave Gallatley, coach of the San Clemente High School Tritons, and I saw something about Cal Baptist because he sent a couple of guys up to Cal Baptist. And it was a Baseball America article that they know how to grow pitchers. And it looks like they've had, I think, 4 top 10 picks.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw that Will Tribuker.
Or four top 10 round picks in the last 4 years.
I saw San Clemente had a kid, Will Tribuker, from a couple years ago when they won the whole thing, or did very well.
So he
was pitching for Michigan.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, and then getting off, talk about a little bit of high school. El Toro won the CIF championships.
I saw that.
Yeah, yeah.
Should have.
They have the pitcher going to Stanford, another pitcher going to UCLA. I mean, they have 4 to 6 D1 kids on that team.
Yeah.
So, and the pitcher who was a stud who won the whole thing, he was their catcher last year. Unbelievable.
Jeez.
So, and he just got an offer to Stanford.
That's great.
So,
I think it was 4-0. I think that final game.
Yeah. Well, the last 2 games they shut out. They went 3-1, 3-0, and 4-0, something like that. So, Mike Gonzalez, good guy, who coaches at El Toro.
Yep.
Really good guy.
A lot of good. I mean, what a great part of the country for talent.
For baseball,
I mean,
for talent.
just from the 55 freeway down is incredible for baseball. I mean, and when I say the 55, out towards Corona and stuff like that turns into 91. Just that whole down through Temecula. I mean, it's just really good
We
baseball.
can play year round out here too. They
do play year round.
Big advantage.
When Gallatley and it took his team to Carolina to play in that national tournament, they won the tournament without their top
ace,
left-hander who went in the first round.
Who went 14th overall to the Braves.
Yeah, went 14th overall to the Braves.
Allred.
Colby Allard. And Allard had he was out. He had hurt his back, and they lost him the whole year. So Dave, they pulled off that national title in that tournament, and then the next year was Huntington Beach who won, and a lot of the West Coast teams. And Dave was telling me that when you go to these, and they invite guys from the teams from Texas and from Oklahoma and just from all over, that they're just astonished at the level of talent. And these are teams, and teams like San Clemente High School, which are not exactly winning the CIF.
Right.
They're competitive in their leagues, but they're putting together prospects for dozens of Division I prospects.
And what they're amazed about is how many multiple pitchers they have, because usually those teams that you see from Carolina, or they have one guy comes in, throws 90, and then they have nobody behind him. And that's what I think the big thing is. They're like, wow, your depth is insane, and then Dave would have to be getting rid of a guy, putting him on there in the 4th to 5th, 6th inning, and they're like, yeah, this is my 5th guy. They're like, that's your 5th guy.
Right.
Well, and like he'd start for me on Fridays.
No better evidence than them being able to lose a first-round draft pick type of arm for the whole season, for that entire tournament, and still come back, win that title, and win a bunch of games and advance in the playoffs. So. A lot of depth in California, and that's why coaches stay with their programs for so long. Dave's been with that program for 20 years or more. More than 300 wins, and the weather's good, and you get a lot of talent coming in.
Silly to go anywhere else.
Yep.
And I think it would be, and I'm not saying this bad against lacrosse, but it would be better. I think it'd be better talent if lacrosse wasn't being played. Because now those football players that would come over to baseball, they're out now going to lacrosse. Now, Dave has told us he's lost players to lacrosse.
Okay.
I mean, so I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I mean, lacrosse is a great sport, and it's done very well, and it's growing in a rapid pace out here. But back when we played, lacrosse wasn't to be found. It was only on the East Coast.
No,
yeah, that's right.
And I'm saying that those football players would come over and play baseball.
Right. And and the programs are developing fast now, and they're not just for kids who didn't make the soccer team or who are doing something in the off season for football. Some of these kids are now training with some high end club teams. For instance, my daughter's playing at the high school level, and she played originally on her first club teams with Holly Riley, who is an All-American from Princeton, and on the U.S. Women's National Team, and then ended up actually, while she was coaching at St. Margaret's, actually going and playing pro games as well. So there's a women's pro lacrosse. And so the talent to coach is coming out, the talent to train is coming out, and more kids are able, and they can play year-round as opposed to on the East Coast. And just a few years ago, the men's lacrosse team at Denver was the first men's team west of the Mississippi to win a national title.
Right.
And they were in it again this year.
Yeah, they were in it again this year. Yeah. Actually, one of our friends has a son at Towson who was also in the final four. So.
And then actually, Lori Sims has a son who played at San Clemente High School. He was on Albany. That actually,
they were.
But the St. Margaret's coach, who came from San Clemente over to St. Margaret's,
right?
He runs one of the best programs around for a club called Victory Lacrosse.
Right. With Holly Riley. Well, Holly Riley, that's where she started. Okay. She's got her own club now.
Okay.
With Renegade.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But All-American, the credentials on her, you can't beat that. All-American, U.S. Women's National Team, and a pro.
Yeah, Glenn, who runs Victory Lacrosse, was right here at St. Margaret's. He was an All-American out of Navy in lacrosse. Wow. And then obviously went off to the Navy to be a pilot. But he runs a program over there, and it's very military.
Well, I'll bet you.
I'm not going to lie to you. It's very military. So
I was just going to ask Vince if he'd like to throw in a couple of lines about the Dodgers. They're
the less said about the Dodgers, the better. I think it's one of those love-hate relationships right now for me with them. Austin Barnes was playing second late in that game against the Nationals, and Kike Hernandez was the third, and Brett Eibner was in center field. So it's like, oh boy, that's where Jock Peterson after the concussion, still not ready. Justin Turner after the hammy, still not ready. Agon looks like a bygone. He is.
Yeah, Kike Fernandez playing first base last night.
He was playing first base, and he ended up at third base. It's awful.
Hey, sounds like the Angels.
Yeah. So and then we're all excited about Hyunjin Ryu. Sorry about that. Ryu goes 7, but he gives up 4.
Right.
So you can call that a quality start. That's not a quality start. What is that in the ERA? Right. It's a bunch.
Right.
It's more than 5 or something. It's a 5 ERA. That's not a quality start.
Well, he had no chance because you were facing a lefty last night.
Yeah, well, that's just it. We can't, exactly. We just can't hit lefties, So, and again, those troubles continue. Gutierrez is hitting 230. Puig is hitting 230. Logan Forsythe is hitting 200. Kike Hernandez is hitting 220. It's bad news. We got to get Turner back, and I think we need to go out and get a right-hand stick. Puig is a great defender. He's going to hit. He's going to drive in some runs. But Jock Peterson looks like I think that experiment's over.
Yeah, I agree. I was never a big fan.
Because frankly, you look back at some of the games. We're 6-4 in our last 10, hanging around top of the leaderboard there, and you look at it and you go, who's been carrying this team? Cody Bellinger, right?
Yeah.
And Taylor, Chris Taylor,
and
Chris Taylor.
Oh.
Yeah.
Neither of those guys on the opening day roster.
And what I heard on the radio on the way in is, when it comes to the picking up players, and some deadlines coming up, they're looking at pitchers. They never talked about any position players at all. Yeah. It's always been pitchers, and it goes back to I kind of agree. When you're in playoff contention, pitchers, I think those are the key. I mean, because you're winning games 3-2 and 4-3, and you're going to be able to bunt guys over and get guys in and stuff like that. And so the discussion was more about arms than it was position players. I mean, I still think you need another guy to help those guys. I mean, Gonzo, like we said, is going to be your base hit guys, and that home run, that's over with. Yeah. And you got a guy like Peterson, all he does is strike out, or he hits a home run every 25, 30 at bats. I mean,
right. He's good defense, but he still doesn't seem to be hitting the ball well, and he's not even hitting righties very well. Yeah. And to have just another left-handed stick out there, it's very hard, because that's why they brought in Gutierrez. Gutierrez he's had some stomach issues, and then he had the groin issue, and boy, he all of a sudden just looks old.
Do you have any right-handers in AAA that?
Yeah, but they're not ready.
They're not ready.
They're not ready. Yeah. And there are a few kids who can hit, and then but you look at it and you.
Yeah.
Tolles comes back, he's a lefty, right?
That's right.
Ethier comes back, he's a lefty. If those guys come back, but Tolles is not. He's got the ACL, and Ethier is, he's on track to come back probably in 16 days, maybe at the end of the year, just like last year. We're going to wait around and can he contribute? Yeah, I mean he'll contribute, but he's not a right-hand stick.
Yeah,
not a right-hand stick. But the Dodgers are consistently 14th in the majors in batting average, 14th against lefties, 14th against righties. And so you can't complain because you're right at the top of the list. Right. But it doesn't look like a team that can win a title. From where we're standing right now, it doesn't look like a team that can win a title. Mm-hmm. And again, because even though those relievers are really good and that relieving core is terrific, we know that emotionally and mentally it's a different game. Just ask Clayton Kershaw what it's like to pitch in the postseason. Yeah. When you get some of these guys who are role players who come into a slot and throw during the regular season, and then you put them in, that's a much harder thing to get outs in the postseason than it is in the regular season. Talk all the analytics you want about how good your bullpen is and lowest ERA in the majors. It's different in the postseason. Yeah. You need starters who can go long, closers who can close, and guys who can drive in big runs. Dodgers are 0 for 19 with runners in scoring position and 2 outs in the last 19 at bat. Well, last 19, 0 and 19. Yeah, in that situation, you can't have that. No. And again, it's because they're playing, Austin Barnes at second and Kike Hernandez at first, and pinch and you got to call your boy Roberts.
Well, I mean, I can really call my boy.
Oh my God! Sometimes it seems like he's flipping a coin out there.
He probably is.
The double switches and
stuff. Yeah. Could be worse. It could be the Angels who've given up a major league record 86 home runs. Not a record, but leading the majors. Leading the majors and most home runs ever given up. Yeah. And I love how Sochi says, we've just got some good pitchers out there that just not hitting their spots. Well, really, that's shocker.
That's great analysis.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what he left out was not hitting their spots over and over and over.
Right.
Consistently.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So.
What do you think about Houston there, John? That's a pretty solid ball club.
Are they
going to be for real?
I think they are. Yeah. I was wondering if Gary Pettis has to ice his arm at night, because he's just every night you're scoring, and I think they scored 40-something runs in one weekend, right? And last night they put 7 on the board. It's just every night it's 6 to 12. You know what I mean? Yeah. I haven't seen a game recently that they scored just 3 runs. And I think it would be a lot of fun to watch and support that team right now. Gary Pettis, our old center fielder. He's the third base coach. Yeah. That's why I said that.
So the Angels go in there this weekend.
Do they really? Are they?
Yes. Oh
boy. Yeah. Stat day for Houston. Ball flies out there too.
What's the over and under on the total runs they're gonna allow in the series?
Springer is just killing the baseball. I mean, he hit one like 460 the other night or something like that. But it's they've got young, good players, and they're all confident. And
this is the best way to build confidence.
Yeah.
Plus, I hope they're getting some crowds down there.
Yeah, so do I. I mean, we'll see. The Angels are in town. Who cares? But I mean, let's see if there's some support. School's out now. In Houston, it's hotter than whatever down there. So go inside. They have the roof there.
A team that good shouldn't matter who the opponent is. I mean, if you got a team that's 45 and whatever, 16 or whatever they are. You don't care who you're playing. You go to the ball game.
It's all, and they're going into Kansas City winning. They're going wherever they want. They're winning majority of the time. They're winning 2 out of 3. So they took it to New York. Wherever they're going. Remember we talked about they've just played their whole entire their total division or what. Now they're going out. Well, they're winning out and they're winning away
because the division wasn't quite the test that we thought it was going to be.
Right.
Or some of us suspected that it wasn't a strong division.
Right.
But they handled it, and then there's an upstart New York Yankee team with some good players, and easy.
Yeah.
They made it look easy.
And by the way, you picked the Twins to do pretty good. Do you see their record on the road? Something crazy, like 16-2 or 3 or
no.
So, it is what it is. There's the Angels are just who's healthy, go out there and play, have fun.
Yeah.
It's great to see that Cole Calhoun's starting to hit the ball a little bit better in June. He's trying to hit the ball the other way a little bit more, so he's tracking the ball into the plate a little bit more, and he started to hit home runs, and he's hitting the ball more
Once
solid.
we got out of May, Matt Shoemaker pitched a little bit better.
Yeah, so, getting May back. I don't know when Maybin's due back. Bedrosian's close.
What was wrong with Maben?
He dove for a ball, and then I think he turned his wrist or something. But
see, it's stuff like that where the guy's going good, and then he comes back from that, and he's not able to take the reps, and then all of a sudden you see that.
Let alone, I think
that's
played
tough.
And us in Tampa have played the most games consistently together.
Oh yeah,
I mean it's absolutely crazy.
I heard some 60 games in 64 days.
63 games in 66 days.
And Tampa's like the only one that's even close to that. But again, remember we talked about July. Like I said, they can't get to July fast enough because now it's like every Monday and Thursday's off.
You can rest in July and you can sleep when you're dead.
Right, exactly. So, but again, July, it's over with in July. You know what I mean? So.
Oh yeah, it's too late. Too late to help them.
Right, exactly. But hopefully, Major League Baseball takes note of this and doesn't have to try to do this again. And so when you guys get hurt, right, and you're still playing every single day, that's not.
Why they give them a 10-day DL.
Right.
U.S. Open.
That's in a couple weeks.
Is that a couple weeks?
Yeah,
next week?
A couple weeks.
Not this weekend. Next
U.S.
week.
Open regionals. Sectional finals were on Monday, so it's the following week. They're in Memphis this week.
So did you hear some guy couldn't qualify because the airline lost his clubs?
No, I didn't.
He wasn't able to turn up on time for qualifying.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
I know that Steve Stricker, who's he's going to be the President's Cup captain. The USGA is a totally different entity than the PGA Tour. So the USGA, they don't give favors out, right? Special exemptions and stuff like that. And he wrote him a nice professional letter saying, I'd like to get a special exemption into this, blah, blah, blah. It's in Erin Hills. I'm from Wisconsin. I'll bring people down. No. So he went out to the sectional final and won it. So he's in. Yeah, so he's in it. He shot 10 under.
That'll show him.
Yeah, and it's 36 holes in one day. It's a Monday and you go. And that all happened yesterday. So we had it actually local here at Big Canyon Newport Beach Country Club.
Okay.
It was a regional sectional final, and so it was. It's all done now. So now,
when is the Open?
It's
2
next
weeks.
week.
Yeah, next week.
It's always ends on Father's Day.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I wasn't too far off. I know it's not next week.
So it's Memphis this week and then next week. So there will be a lot of guys will take Memphis off because they all want to get in around Saturday.
Right.
At the Open to get word on the street real quick is that it could be pretty breezy. So
what's Erin Hills like?
It's they can stretch this golf course to 8,200 yards if they want, right?
Okay, that's nice.
It's insane, right? It's only probably about 4 years old. Wow. It's out in the middle of nowhere, so trying to find a place close to it is going to be really hard. It's I haven't put my guys together yet because
you work on that.
Yeah, I really like to see how Rory's doing with his whole deal with his ribs, but overall it's going to be my mindset's maybe changed a little bit because of the wind, but Dustin will be tough. He had his worst showing last week actually at the Memorial. But yeah, I'll have my top 5 guys to
There
keep
you
an eye
go.
on
All right.
next Tuesday.
Okay. We all set then, guys?
Yeah, all
Any
good.
more
Yep.
enough to say?
Nope.
We're out.
Good night.
Peace.